So it's almost like I spoke it into existence yesterday. So yesterday in my video, I said that if I was Prince Andrew, I would want my money back at least, or at least be exonerated by the FBI and the DOJ, because apparently Virginia Giuffre was a liar, and now they have indisputable proof of that. And last night, or for me last night because I'm in Germany, but yesterday they dropped the investigative probe into Prince Andrew, and so thereby basically exonerating him. So congratulations to Prince Andrew. That is fantastic for you. You know, he's good. He's the happiest fucking pervert on the planet. Oh well, okay, we don't know that he's a pervert. That's true. We don't know. He's just, you know, yeah, he paid somebody $11 million in pounds, you know, to get away from being charged criminally for this. You know what I'm saying? Or going to trial over it civilly. Yeah, going to trial over it civilly. He claimed his main alibi when he was interviewed about it was that he doesn't sweat. Yeah. Okay. Oh, he's got this. Oh, he's got this problem. I do not sweat. What the fuck? Oh, and everybody's like, okay, that's believable. Anyway, congratulations to Prince Andrew. You know, you are hereby, thanks to the DOJ and FBI under Donald Trump, are exonerated. But that's not really what I wanted to talk about today. I wanted to kind of go into this deal about the possible amnesty for farm workers and hotel workers as far as the illegal aliens are concerned. Now, look, hey, I get the sentiment for people that say, well, no, fuck it. Nope. Illegal is illegal. Get them all out. I feel the same way. You know what I mean? I feel the same way. But you can't, the farming, you know what I'm saying, where the food comes from, you can't let those places go bust, right? Now, I don't know, I'm not in the farming world, right? I don't know if there is another solution except for basically slave laborers, right? I don't know. I think a lot of it probably could be automated, you know what I mean? Especially with the up-and-coming technology. It might be expensive, you know what I mean? But it could be automated. So there's a couple of solutions for this. Giving amnesty to these people, I don't think is really one of them. You know what I mean? Just because, look, the system in this case has to be fixed. America, like many other Western countries that proclaim to be so morally righteous, and we are the best system, and we are so much better than the dictators and the blah blah. We hate slavery, and we're against and Black Lives Matter, and blah 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 blah. We're colonial. Look, America, like many Western countries, have basically based their economies as far as like things like food production, and in America's case, probably also the hotel sector. You know, menial jobs have basically based their economies on allowing those menial jobs to be done for basically shit wages. They've artificially created a system of prosperity that isn't really there, right? By forcing minimum wage on businesses, which I understand. Like, I'm not going to get into the weeds on every little thing. Otherwise, I could talk for an hour. I get the sentiment that wanting to make sure that everybody has a meaningful wage, and if you leave that up to the businesses, a lot of people may not. But there's also something to be said for the value of a certain job. You know what I mean? Which there already is. You don't get the same money flipping burgers at McDonald's as you do being a financial advisor, you know, or a doctor or whatever. So jobs do have different values already, you know what I mean? And if, who knows what would have happened if the governments would just have the market take care of the whole thing without interfering in the market. The fact is they have in many instances, and it's caused in the end a situation where basically we're all dependent on this slave labor that we import from other countries, legally and illegally, right? Because America already has a visa program, I'm pretty sure. And again, when I'm not 100% sure, I'm not going to say 100%, but I'm pretty sure that America has a visa program that allows seasonal workers to come in, work the farms, or tourist areas or whatever, when it's hotels or whatever, and then take off in the winter and go back home, right? There's already a legal program for that, but that's not fixing the problem. The problem is that apparently, according to the farmers and according to the hotel sector and according to Donald Trump and a lot of other people, according to all those people, they have to have people that are willing to work for basically peanuts, right? In order to make it work. Otherwise, it's going to be too expensive. If it gets too expensive, food is going to become way too expensive. That's the logic line I think they're trying to follow. They're trying to create here, right? So if that's the case, that food is going to, like, let's say, double in price because now instead of having illegals work the farms, the farmers are going to have to pay Americans a normal wage, an actual living wage under the law, like the minimum wage, at least minimum wage to at least, right? Or, you know what I mean? They're going to have to pay them even more because Americans are going to be like, no, we're not going to do that job for minimum wage. Fuck that. Because they've been conditioned to allow slaves to basically do it, right? So it's going to have to be at least minimum wage or more, making the food and everything more expensive. Now, of course, they could also take less profit. So they could kind of divide profit and price. The consumer's going to take a hit no matter what they do, right? So how do you solve this problem now that we're there, right? We shouldn't be in this situation for sure. Is the situation caused by governments basically involving themselves in the market way too much over time? I think so, just based on a layman perspective. I think that has a lot to do with it at the very least, right? So, but we're here now. Now we're in a situation where apparently in order to make it work with farming, at the hotel sector, I have less sympathy for that because, honestly, the public doesn't need hotels to survive. They do need food. You know what I mean? So I'm not so wow about making any special fucking arrangements for people in the hotel sector or the hospitality sector or any shit like that. No. You know what I'm saying? But farming, that is kind of a key thing. You know what I mean? Food can't get too much more expensive than it already is. We all know it. So as much as we want the illegals to get out, you know what I mean? We do have to, there has to be a solution other than, okay, let's throw them all out and that's the end. So what do you do? How do you do it? Well, I'm just spitballing here. You know what I mean? I'm just spitballing here. There's a couple of options. If there is a way to automate most of that shit, then you subsidize farmers to be able to automate their shit, right? It's going to be expensive. Not all of them are going to be able to pay for it. So you give them fucking good loans or you subsidize them so that they can get that shit installed and working. If that's an option, go that way. You know what I'm saying? Again, I don't know how much technical possibilities there are in automating a whole farming operation, but hey, China just automated a whole coal plant, right? So it's like there's not a fucking worker in it. You know what I mean? It's all automated, from the mining to the digging to the separating to the fucking, offloading it into trucks, getting it out of the mine, the whole damn thing. So if they can do that, then there must be a way to do that for farming as well. There got to be a way. You know what I mean? There's got to be a way. So that they need minimal employee costs in order to make it renditionable, right? To make it profitable, at least. Yeah, that would be an option to me. You could also say, look, to me, keeping these people there and making them work for basically slave labor wages, that is not an option. If you're looking at the things you can do about this, that shouldn't be one of the things, right? Do you have to do it maybe temporarily? Maybe. You know what I'm saying? Maybe. But the fact is, what they need to do is they need to solve the issue of relying on slave labor in order to get these things done. So that means that maybe they're going to have to subsidize the farmers so that they can pay people regular wages, And hey, look, when it comes to taxes, right? When it comes to taxes, if you're paying taxes to fund wars in Ukraine and Israel, and fucking NGO BS and all the things that you don't want to really spend your taxes on, right? Wouldn't it be a well-placed use of your tax money if it was going to subsidizing the farmers so that they can survive, pay people in America, the American citizens, or visa holders, permanent visa holders, or even the seasonal workers? They can get seasonal visas to come and work, no problem. They just got to be paid a minimum wage like everybody else. You can't continue to use slaves. You can't do that. That's not the right direction to go. That we know. That's not the way. I know that's the way it's been going all this time and blah, 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 and it's worked fine and blah. No, you can't fucking exploit people like that, even if they're willing to do it. And then say, well, we're America of freedom and we hate slavery and dictators and what they're doing to the Uyghurs and camps and blah, blah, blah. You can't do that. You can't take both sides of that. So you've got to solve the slave labor issue. And the way to do that, in my opinion, I'm just spitballing as a dude who drives a truck. I'm not a fucking financial expert. I'm just saying, why, if the only solution is that you either leave the slaves in place or you subsidize the farms, at least for a period of time, right? A period of time that maybe the economy adjusts and over time, and you allow them to, or you basically force the farms to pay people at least a minimum wage to do the jobs, right? And then you also stop the welfare shit. Stop welfare for people who can work. And then they will be forced to take whatever job they can take, which is life. I've had to do that my whole life. You know what I'm saying? And now I finally find a job I really like, the truck driving. I love it. I've hated every job before it, but you got to eat. You know what I mean? You got to fucking eat. So that's the I think that needs to stop as well. The welfare needs to stop, only for people that are critically ill, can't work, whatever, they really can't work, provably, right? Not people that just want to sit on the couch, or fucking illegal immigrants that, whatever, you know what I mean? So, you subsidize the farms, at least until the economy adjusts, and you make it that people who work at the farms, and if Americans don't want to do it, allow the ones that come from other countries to come in legally through the visa program and pay them the minimum wage. Dude, that'll be great. Dude, you'll have a storm of motherfuckers coming in to do that work. It won't be a problem, because part of the problem why a lot of the people, why those jobs aren't always filled is because even from Mexico, they're like, okay, but that wage is still too little to make it worth it, to come. But if you start paying the seasonal visa workers the minimum wage or a little more, well, they're going to be lining up to come. You never have a fucking job that's closed because they're willing to do the work. So if it ends up that Americans really aren't willing to do the work, there is a solution for that. You let other people from other countries come in and do it seasonally on legal means, visa programs, and you pay them minimum wage or more, and you'll never have a spot that's empty. But the slave labor thing's got to go, right? I mean, that seems pretty logical to me. And for those people that are going to argue, well, but that's socialism. Well, it is kind of socialism, but a lot of things are socialism already. You know what I mean? A lot of things are socialism already. A lot of things are socialism. The fire department is socialism. The police department is socialism. You know what I mean? So things that are critical are kind of socialist. You know what I mean? That it already works like that a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Certain things. So food is critical to me. You know what I'm saying? And I think it is to everybody else. So I think that's the path they should try to go. Something like that. But amnesty or leaving the illegal aliens in place because there's just no choice and there's just no other way. No. I understand that this problem is not one they really want to tackle and it's going to be difficult, but you can't continue to exploit people at slave wages in order to be able to, so that your country has a facade of prosperity that it really doesn't have. You know what I mean? That's unacceptable. I think we all know that. Again, congratulations to Prince Andrew, a free man, an exonerated man, never did anything wrong, proved that Virginia Giuffre was a lying person. Very, very bad, And guys, have a great weekend. We'll see you guys on Monday. Peace.